All right, all right. How's everybody doing? Yeah. You know what? I like the energy. I didn't have to say make some noise. You guys just did it from the jump, but I feel like we can get a little louder. Can we get a little louder and make some noise? Yeah. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our Gets Fest 2024. Gets Fest is Grammy in the Schools. This is a celebration of the 66th annual Grammy Awards. You guys excited for the awards this year? We're so excited. We're so excited. How many of you guys are visiting the Grammy Museum for the first time? Okay, a lot of people visiting for the first time. Awesome, awesome. Well, we have an amazing first program to get our Gets Fest program started today. So I'm going to announce our guest moderator and our guest artist for today. And I need you guys to make this place shake with applause. Can we do that? Can we do that? So first, can we give it up for the Executive Director of R&B and Hip Hop, Gail Mitchell, and 5-time Grammy-nominated artist, Coco Jones.
Hey, y'all. All right.
Well, I see we have a house full. This is great of Coco Jones fans out here. So this is tremendous. All right. So before we get started, because I know you're very interested in her journey, just want to give some receipts here. This woman was one of the major breakthrough stories in music in 2023, thanks to her platinum certified single, I See You, and her major label EP debut with What I Didn't Tell You. She's also a first-time Grammy nominee, not with just one nomination, but 5. And just to run that tally down, it's Best New Artist, Best R&B Song for I See You, Best R&B Performance for I See You, Best R&B Album, What I Didn't Tell You, deluxe version, and then Best Traditional R&B Performance for the track Simple that she did with music legend Babyface. And let me not leave out the fact that she's also one of the stars of the popular Peacock series Bel-Air. So we'll get started, all right?
Let's do it.
Yeah, so I know you've been asked this question a lot lately. What were you doing when you found out that you were a Grammy nominee and then finding out not just one nod, but 5?
I have been getting this question a lot. So actually, I was on a flight, and I knew the nominations were coming out around that afternoon, so I figured it would be like when I land, that's when I would hear what happened. So I just went to sleep. And next thing I know, I'm feeling all of these vibrations. I'm like, the turbulence is crazy. I'm like, let me wake up. So I checked my phone, and on iMessage, you can get the text messages. I just kept seeing like messages pop up, congratulations, congratulations. So I figured that the nominations had already been announced, and then people were saying 5, and I was like, what does 5 mean? I don't get what 5 is saying. So when I landed and I could finally call people back, that's when they told me that I had 5 nominations, and I was just shook.
And no doubt you were smiling ear to ear the way you are right now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The first thing I did was call my mom. We just screamed for like 5 minutes straight.
And that's a good thing. All right. So knowing your journey that you're going to talk about to get to this point, what did the nominations mean to you when you got a chance to really sit back and everything sinks in?
That's a good question. When I think about being nominated for a Grammy, it's so funny to have had that on my vision board and to have the picture of Beyonce holding all the Grammys, and I put my face there, and I'm like, exactly. So to be living in that is kind of surreal, but I think it's also kind of like relief, because you're pushing towards these goals, and for a while, it doesn't look like anything similar to what you want your life to look like and what you're striving for. You're waiting to see that payoff. So I think for me, just to be nominated, it kind of feels like, okay, I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew I was good at this, you know? Because a lot of the time, you're convincing people, convincing them at auditions, convincing them when you walk in the room. And so to have people convinced that at least they see what I'm doing and they see that it's good, and I'm nominated with amazing artists who I look to get inspired by, to me it just feels like, okay, I'm on the right path, and I can keep going, you know?
Yeah, speaking of the other artists, this is a big year for R&B. It's been having a renaissance for the last several years. I think it's still one of my favorite genres, so I'm happy to see this. But you're in the Derby with a mix of other folks repping for the genre, like Victoria Monet, SZA, Janelle Monáe, and several others. So what does it mean, again, what do you think this means for the genre moving forward, and the fact that it was so many females recognized this year, especially in top marquee categories like Album of the Year, Song of the Year, Record, Best New Artist?
Well, I think women are eating it up right now. And I think that it's a lot of timing, you know. Me, specifically Victoria, we have a similar journey. She actually wrote on my first EP when I was like 15. And she came out of her house and out of her comfort and invested time in me to give me a song that I liked and I chose. And, you know, she helped me at that time. And so I feel like it's about timing. I didn't know that we would kind of be running in similar lanes and be at this destination at similar times, but it's just women's time right now. And I think we are talented and skilled and so disciplined, I feel, to just keep pushing past obstacles that are like, all right, okay, that's ridiculous, but I'll continue. So I'm really honored. I think for R&B, I really want to continue to push this narrative that it can be so many different things and it can be so many different emotions, but just tied into that raw, real vulnerability that has made so many classic songs that, you know, are timeless. And it can continue to make classic songs that are timeless.
Exactly. So now let's talk about that journey from Lebanon, Tennessee to Disney Star, Let It Shine. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. To the moment you're at now. When did you decide you wanted to be a singer, and why?
So there was this one time where I was singing for Easter service at my church, right? And I was playing basketball at the time, and that was like my thing. I was like, yeah, I'm a baller. Like that was my thing at the time. And I would sing as well because I also really enjoyed the rush of being like on a stage and performing. You know, I lived for it. It felt like sports. It was fun. And I remember my coach was at this Easter service, and I was singing My Redeemer Lives, and I was just into it. I was going there. I was like, yes, you know? And I open my eyes, and I see my coach, and he's bawling, crying, like so feeling it, you know, spirit just connecting. And so I was like, whoa, I have never made anybody bawl, cry while I'm playing basketball, so this has to be my purpose. It felt like in that moment that this is something bigger than me, that I'm just here to be used by God, you know, to be able to make somebody feel. Yeah.
Okay. So what was it like going, because you would go nearby as Nashville, it's like literally around the corner? Okay.
Well, so, girls, a 45er.
45er, okay. That's pretty short, considering. Starting to go out on auditions at, what, 8, 9 years old? What was that like, and with your mom?
Auditioning, to me, kind of felt like a fun hobby. It didn't really become this stressful, high-stakes part of my job until I was like 15, 16, and I was like, all right, what are we doing? Like, where's the next opportunity? But before then, it kind of felt like an extracurricular activity, you know? Like, I'd go to school and I'd like audition for a broccoli commercial. It was just something fun to do.
Right.
But I think I realized, this is not what normal kids do. When my sister actually, she was like, I want to audition like Courtney. I want to do it too. And so my mom was like, okay, come on. And so she had to wait for like an hour and a half for her turn. She was like, you know what, cancel it. It's not even that serious to me. And I was like, dang, maybe I do want this more than the average kid, because I would just sit there for an hour and a half practicing, getting excited, thinking what else I could do to like make them not forget me. I was just obsessed with the feeling.
Okay. And talk about there's a little signal your mom would give you when it was time to sing. So talk a little bit about that and how that built your work ethic moving forward.
Ooh, yes. Shout out Javonda. She really trained me well. So basically, when I was like 9, 10, I would have to just sing at the drop of a hat, like almost everywhere we went. And how I knew it was my cue to sing, because my mom would do a lot of the talking, and then I'd be like, can I sing for y'all? Basically, my mom would just like grab her earring, and she'd look at me, and I'd be like, you guys ever heard Aretha Franklin, Chain of Fools? But it taught me that, one, you have to be fearless, and you have to fake it till you make it. They didn't know that I was 9, like, I cannot believe I have to sing again for this board of executives. This is so uncomfortable. But that's how I felt inside, but I wanted the opportunity more. You have to let, like, your fear sit in the back because of what you want in the front, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's tough. It's tough. But it taught me a lot about just being willing to let go, tap in that moment, and let the chips fall where they may.
Okay. So talk a little bit about the detour into acting, because music, I know you were still working towards that, but the detour into acting with Disney and breaking in that way.
Yes. Music was chaotic, but it was always my first priority. It was always what I saw, and then acting would be something that I saw around music, especially on Disney Channel, when typically if you're doing a project, you're singing, then you might put out an album and you might have a show. Like, it all kind of is around the same world. But music was always the main goal for me, but I didn't know how to get there at all. But what I knew is that I could audition for things. You could literally go in and try out for the job. So I would just do that while I was figuring out the music industry. And acting kind of took off first, you know? And I kind of liked acting because it was way more consistent and stable than the chaos that was music. So I would do these projects, and then people would be surprised that I also sing. But I was like, I'm really a singer who's also acting, you guys. Mm-hmm. But, you know, this is the opportunity right in front of me, so I'm going to do that too.
Which leads to Let It Shine, where you did sing several songs. And then talk a little bit about that thinking, because at that point, well, you'd already been making EPs on your own, right?
During Let It Shine, I had a very DIY project that was released through my mom's Windows PC. That was my only project out at the time. But music had been like the main priority around that time. So yeah.
Okay. Before we move forward, the importance of family in your journey. You talk about your mom, but I know you're close with your dad and your siblings. So talk about how that helped you through.
So many different ways that my family helped me in this journey. Of course, my mom taught me everything that I know, I feel, that made me who I am. But I think my family also showed me by what they sacrificed as well for me to be there. For me to leave and go to LA every summer, like, that meant that my siblings weren't with their mom. I wasn't with them. I wasn't with my dad. My dad had to, you know, take care of my brother and sister, and, you know, they had to be willing to let that be what it was and not know when that was going to pay off. My siblings also are, like, so normal that they don't get impressed by anything LA. And that reminds me that this is just LA world. It's not the real world, you know? Like, my sister and brother, they're really, like, tapped in humans. So I'll be like, guys, this is this and this. And they're like, yeah, anyway, did you watch that episode of, you know, like, they're just not impressed. And I love that because it makes me feel like there's a real world, you know, that's not Hollywood and that's not all rah-rah. And there's just so much more to life. So it feels kind of like I can escape this industry and just talk to my friends. Like, my siblings are my besties, you know, and we can really be normal people. They've helped me be normal because I also was homeschooled. And then I moved to LA and I, you know, was focusing on trying to make it. So I had to, like, live, you know, and my siblings were living. So they helped me be like, no, that's a little strange. Like, no, we don't say that anymore. That's not, I was really? Okay, Like they taught me how to be, I feel like, more grounded.
Yeah, exactly. So moving to LA when you did at the age you did, share a little bit about, you had expectations and they didn't necessarily unfold the way you thought they were, and navigating a music industry that's competitive and can be treacherous at such a young age.
Yeah, I definitely had hilarious expectations for when I first moved to LA because I had been coming back and forth since I was like 9. So I was like, okay, perfect. I just got my license. I'm just going to drive to my TV show. Paparazzi, no, please. Oh my gosh. I'm just so booked. I'm so booked and busy right now. This is crazy. And I'm a pop star. Hey, guys. Told ya. No. It gave nothing of the sort. Nothing of the sort. I was driving around from audition to audition. And I was like, when will it be my time? But I also recognized that it couldn't have gone that way for me because I literally had no identity. I was just a performer. I was just whatever character I was told to be. I literally had no idea who I was. I remember when I first heard SZA and I was like, whoa, you can talk like that? Like you can say what you actually say to your girls. You don't have to like clean it up in the studio and like put on a mask of like pretty words, pretty vibes. Like you can be raw and authentic and vulnerable. I was shook. I mean, that is just not what I was taught at all. So I really feel like I had to be disappointed. I had to start from scratch because I had to find who I was in the middle of that silence, But it was tough. I think what helped me was being around other people who had big goals. When I was around the party girls, all I did was party. And that was fun, but it was also empty because I wasn't doing anything. I wanted to be around people who were trying to do something, Even if it was engineers or producers, I made like producer friends and guitar player friends, and like we would just do stuff on YouTube. I met people who wanted to be in entertainment law and like entertainment business and be on the other side, be A&Rs, and that kind of made me feel like, okay, we all are low-key confused, but we're gonna figure it out. It's not weird or strange that I don't have what I'm supposed to have right now. The only difference is that I had done stuff as a kid, but you start over when you turn 18. Like they don't care, So yeah, it was a lot of finding my way, a lot of random pieces that would connect. And that's another thing too. You never know who's listening. So watch what you say, watch how you treat people. And if you can, be your own business card. I did not live for that. I really didn't want to, hey, I'm a singer, I do that. I was like, if they get it, they get it. But that's the wrong mindset to have because people genuinely just might not know what you can do, And you have to be willing to put yourself out there, say your skills and your talents, and maybe even perform at the drop of a hat, I'm serious.
Good advice. So during this time, too, you were making some EPs. You were on a major label for a while. I had an EP. And then, so talk a little bit about doing that on your own. And still, I admire your persistence and determination. You just kept your eyes on the prize all this time.
Thank you. Yeah, so when I was independent, I think that's when I really found what I like to say and what music I like to hear. That's kind of when I had initially let go of like, it has to be sellable, like it has to be marketable. I just wanted to do what I liked because the only person paying for it was me. So I'm gonna do what I wanna do. And I ended up putting out Just My Luck, this independent release. And I remember seeing the traction on socials because I just really bared my soul. And I was like, I'm just gonna say what I wanna say. This is my truth. And it really inspired me to keep this theme of it has to be authentic to me. And whoever likes that, that's who likes it. And whoever doesn't, not my business, because there'll be somebody else for that person that they like. But I cannot like try to sell something that I don't really use, try to be somebody that I'm not really. It just won't work long term, clearly, because I was just being vulnerable and being honest and putting my music out there, filming these videos like by myself with people that I had met who was also trying to make it, young, hungry people who wanted to produce for free, who wanted just credit and tags, you know, and that really caught the right people, and it really resonated with the right audience. So it taught me a lot about, like, you just really have to stick to whatever is you, and the right people will get it over time, you know?
So prior to this, prior to 2020, you've released, what, 3 or 4 EPs? Somewhere in there, 3?
I think only 2.
2, okay. And then 2020 happens, and somebody, social media, who's all-encompassing and always watchful, a fan from your Disney days is like, what's going on with Coco? So talk about how you shared on YouTube, and you, just like you said, you were authentic in your music, you got authentic with what your journey had entailed up to that point.
Yes, so there was this tweet, and it was like, dang, whatever happened to Coco Jones? And the tweet did numbers, and I was like, oh my gosh, where are they now? The pain. I'm like, my dreams, it's over for me now. So I'm telling my mom, I'm like, help me, my sadness. She's like, girl, it's the internet. And she was like, why don't you just tell them? I was like, what? Speak on it? I was like, girl, no, they will excommunicate me from the industry. And I was like, my mom said something. She was like, what do you have to lose? And I was like, oh, nothing at the time. I didn't have anything on the table. I didn't have this project. I wasn't signed. I was independent. I was funding myself. I was paying my own rent, running the clock out. So what? And I kind of just had this feeling of, what else? What else could happen? Why not? You know? So I was blown away by the people who watched and cared, because also with social media, it can get so humbling, you know? Because I had social media, like I had Instagram and Twitter and stuff since I was like 11, but my mom ran it initially, you know, because I'm a fetus, and then I got all the accounts because I was like, I'm me now, thank you. And I just watched the engagement just decline. And oh my gosh, it was so humbling that I would just post and close my eyes, like leave the app. You know, I can't. But I was still posting. Now I was still going to post my covers, you know, because I'm not going to stop. It's just very humbling over there, you know, close my eyes and keep moving. So to go from like one day closing my eyes to like, oh my gosh, my YouTube is blowing up right now. All these people are watching this video. I felt like I was in like a glitch in time and space. So I just started chatting. I just started being myself, and I'd never done that before. I'd never, first of all, never been in front of a camera not singing, but just showing myself. Like my best friends would be like, you need to like show yourself. And I was like, girl, they don't care. Like I'm not doing it. But I would entertain people. So I was just being myself, and I had no idea that it would like give me this renaissance moment of people caring again, and that that sound would go viral, and that I would have all these people who were riding for me to make it. Like it was kind of like they couldn't connect because I didn't give them anything to connect to. I kept it surface, I kept it here, but I wasn't open and honest and vulnerable and willing to be, you know, afraid a little bit to share my story. So yeah, I feel like that kind of was a pivoting point in my perception of how the world is. I didn't know that they would care about my journey and my story and my struggles. And now I was like, okay, I gotta make it now. Because now that I feel like people connect to my real self, I'm gonna give y'all everything I got.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Whose phone is that?
So with the videos as well, you did covers, Mary J. Blige, Brandy. So talk a little bit about your choice to do that after this happened, and what do you think, how did that help propel you to where you are now, you think?
Honestly, I just wanted to give them something. If these people were tapped in and tuned in to what I was doing, I was gonna do something. At the time, I would just either remix songs that I loved or remix songs that were out that I felt like I could do something cool on and post that on social media. I didn't know what it would really lead to, but I also had realized too that I had been kind of covering and remixing songs for like a decade. I had been doing that for such a long time that I didn't even know that I would use those things that I learned and those creative choices every day now when I'm in the studio, you know? It always kind of feels like wow, it's like my version of what I would do on TikTok, or the reason that I liked these songs and these choices is because it reminds me of music that I want to do. And now I can find those creative concepts from things that I've done in the past that were just on social media. And then it also gave me confidence in who I am as a writer and a creator, because people would like them and they would use the sounds in their videos. And I was like, okay, maybe I've got this, you know? It was kind of like a way of dipping my toe and releasing something, but not fully committing to like a project or a song. It was just like, here's a little cover, what y'all think, you know?
So then it leads to you getting signed in 2021 by High Standards, which is a label imprint with that J. Dot operates, and it's through Def Jam Recordings. Tingy Balagan is the CEO and chairman of that label. So what is it about this fit that worked for you versus what you've been through in the past in dealing with labels?
Well, in the past, it was very, why should we do anything? Like, convince us, and the clock is ticking as well, so make it snappy. You know, it didn't feel right. It felt forced. And I just wasn't trying to do that anymore. So when I got approached by J. Dot and High Standards, his joint venture, and Def Jam, I met everyone, and one, they looked like me, so I'd never experienced that before. They understood me, and it wasn't like an audition. It wasn't a prove it. It was like, hey, we've been watching. We see what you do. How can we help you? How can we elevate you? And just fine tune everything. Because when you're doing everything on your own, you do the best you can with what you got. But you need help. You need help. I don't know. I wasn't able to do it all by myself as much as I tried. So they just wanted to help me. They wanted to help elevate me and bring the best out of me. I didn't feel like I had to dim anything. It was more challenge me to be better, to just rise to the occasion. And I always feel like the athlete in me comes out, and I'm like, I will, you know, so I live for that.
All right. And soon after that, you get the role on Bel-Air.
Well, you know what's crazy? Bel-Air kind of came first.
Before?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it did kind of happen first. Originally, I did not want to audition for Hillary because I was told it was a reimagining, and I'm thinking, okay, same thing in this day, and I'm like, I'm not Hillary. I don't give that. I mean, aesthetically, that's not me, so let's not even waste our time. Thanks, guys. But my acting management was like, you will audition. I was like, can I audition for Ashley? Like, come on now. They were like, no, Ashley's 12. They were like, read for Hillary. Send it tonight. I was like, all right. I respect you guys. You guys would know. So yeah, I do the self-tape with my homegirl. My homegirl was like, you kind of killed that. I was like, I'm not even bougie. She was like, well. I was like, touche. Yeah, so normally with an audition, you know, you're going to do like 7 to 8 rounds. They're going to keep on calling you back, and then they'll decide after a while. But I had a call with the director. My team was like, hey, the director wants to talk with you. And I was like, what? Level 7? There's supposed to be 3 more levels at least. So yeah, I talked to the director, and he basically, it was all so it just had to be God's timing, because this is what happens in my life. I get to this point where I'm like, maybe the wheels are falling off. Maybe it's time to get out of this car. And then it's like, AutoZone, you know? And then things change. And I'm like, what? Are we, okay, let's go. One more time around the block. You know, so it was just like one of those times again. And I was like, are we doing this? Okay. Because the director was like, just be yourself. You're a star. Like, just do what you do. And I was like, yeah, but like, what do I need to change about myself too? He was like, nothing. And I was like, but like, what about nothing? He was like, just no. He was like, I've been watching you. I think you're great. I just wanted to talk. And I was like, there's no creative, constructive criticism for no? I was like, okay, thank you. Have a good day. And the next call was, I got the role.
All right. So taping's getting ready to begin soon on the 3rd season, right? I know you probably can't say any hints about what you think's going to happen. No? Yeah?
I'll just say, I personally was like, we need to up the drama. I just need Hillary to just go there. So that's what I told the writers. I was like, whatever your limitations are of me, don't. I'll just go there. So just write it, and I'll go there. So, yeah, y'all might want to stay tuned, because the first episode has got me a little gagged.
Okay. And I'm sure the room will be happy to know that you're also at the same time recording your debut studio album. So any hints about the direction for that?
I feel like I learned so much with my EP. I would say I'm very unsure. Will people like this? Will it do well? What does doing well even mean? Like, what are the expectations that I should have for a debut EP? Should I look at the charts, and does that matter? You know, I just had so many questions that I didn't understand. I didn't know how the process would go. And I felt like creatively, I was like the freshman version of myself. Like, hey, I just got to the school. Hopefully you guys like me. Where do I sit at lunch? You know, like, who am I? You know, just very nervous. And so now seeing what has happened in my life and the support, the reception, the charts, the awards, it's like instilled this confidence in me that I didn't have on my debut album. So, on my debut EP. So with my debut album, I feel like creatively, I just want to take way more leaps. I want to just be unafraid. I want to keep the world in mind. Now that I've toured and I've sang ICU all over the place, like, what do I want that world to be? What do I want my next wave of things that I'm singing all over the place to be, and how do I want to look? How do I want to project that, you know? What do I want the message to be this time? So I feel like I'm a lot more intentional with my debut album.
Okay. And then before we open this up to the audience for some questions to Coco, what advice do you have for those out there who are aspiring artists or creatives in terms of songwriting, producing?
Honestly, you're going to have to put in hours, work, time, and you shouldn't really focus on when you're going to make a return on that investment, because I did a lot of by this date and this, and then on this year, this, and it never was that, ever. I really could have had way more fun if I would have just been a little delusional, you know? Like, it's just gonna be great. I don't know. I have no answers for you guys. When, where, why, how. Just know it's gonna be great, you know? I just kept asking all these questions, driving myself crazy, and no one had the answer. No one, you know? But what I did recognize that stayed the same over all of those years is I always gave my all in those auditions. I was gonna sing. If I had to, I was going to, and I was gonna put my back into it. I was gonna put up a cover if 100 people watched it, because sometimes that's literally all, and I would just close my eyes and get off the app. But I was gonna post something, I was gonna write something, I was gonna do something every day, you know? And some days, all I did was not give up that day, and that was fine too. Because it doesn't have to be a post every day or a song every day, because that can drive you crazy. But yeah, my advice is to just do something every day, and don't worry about when or how it'll all work. Just trust that your timing is your timing, and that you love what you do, and so you'll get it. You'll get it on the back end at some point. So just give every opportunity like it's your last opportunity, because you never know who's watching, and trust that the doors that are meant for you will open, and that's all you can do, for real.
So can we raise the house lights a little bit? We'll have some audience Q&A.
Now to hear from you guys.
Yeah. Right down here front first.
Hi, Coco. I'm a huge fan. I'm an artist and aspiring actress at the Rock Nation School in Brooklyn. Yo, I love you. Sorry, I'm freaking out. Whoa. Okay, I'm recording. Okay. Okay. So I I just got my first role as a first speaking role in a movie, and
Right. All right.
oh my gosh. And like when I watch your movies, one thing I really like is like when you speak, you don't sound like, oh, like you're acting, like it just sounds like fluent. So like my question is like how like what is your memorization skills? Because that's something I'm dealing with right now. My anxiety has been like raising because it's like such a this is my first like big role, so I'm like I've just been freaking out. Like sometimes when we come to like the actual like practice, I'm like completely blank out on the script. So what's your memorization like skill?
That's a good question. Congrats on the role, Per. I remember my first speaking role. Love that. Um, I personally used to obsess over the lines. Like Let It Shine time, I knew everybody's lines. I'd be like, your line is. They'd be like, okay. I knew everybody's lines because that helped me too. I think I was so nervous that I just wanted to know everything, so that as an actor, you don't want to miss your cues when you're supposed to be listening and active listening. And so I just had to learn it all. And maybe that would help you too. But I also record my lines. I record the other person's lines so that I don't have to keep asking people to read it with me. And so I'll just listen to it and I'll say my part, listen for their part, and then, just pretend you're on a phone call so people don't think you're crazy or anything. But yeah, girl, practice makes perfect for real. The more you know it by heart, second nature, the better you'll be able to just like let go in the moment,
Okay. Gentleman right here with in the black long sleeve shirt. Right here. You.
Hello, Coco.
Hey, girl.
And just to clarify, my name is Isis. I am goddess of the West. Yeah.
And that's on period.
So, first and foremost, I just want to congratulate you on all of your successes. Like, it's been amazing watching your journey and just to see someone being a pillar for melanated women, and just it's inspirational.
Thank you.
My thing that I want to ask you, first, another thing. I love Double Back, and the remix is going crazy. But
Period. Thank
yeah.
you.
So I saw that it was going around on social media, The Princess and the Frog. Is that like a speculation or?
You guys, I put on one green dress, and all of a sudden, I can't escape this question. No, honestly, I think it would be amazing. It would be an honor. It would be like a stamp in history, Black girl history, of course, to play Princess Tiana. Realistically, though, I don't know how that works. That's a whole bunch of movies that I think they're going through, like, in the timing that they were created. So I don't know how old I'll be when they actually get to Tiana. Maybe my daughter will be playing her. But I would love to if that opportunity ever came about. I think it was just a fun trend to play into. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day, girl. We'll see.
Thank you.
You're welcome, goddess.
I'm rooting for you.
Thank you, babes.
God, it's so hard to see in here. Person over here it looks like an olive jacket. Yes.
Hi, I'm Shy.
Hi.
Back in the day, we used to follow each other on Twitter, so I'm really proud and happy.
Thank you. That might have been my mom.
It was like mindless behavior today, so probably.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, but my question is, I'm an artist, a singer. I produce music. I just started this year. But my question was, how's your writing process?
So it really depends. One thing that I really do like to do is to get around really good writers, because I feel like it just brings the best out in me. And I personally want people around me that's like, I think you can top this line. I think you can think outside the box a little bit here, or maybe a different melody. It feels like something I've already heard before. I want people to push me to be the best. So that's one thing that I do to get better at writing for sure. But I think it just depends. A lot of the time I go off of the music that's being played, the beat or whatever that I hear that I'm inspired by. But I also try to sometimes come in with a concept. Like if it's heavy on my mind, I want to get something out, then I'm like, okay, we might have to build a beat around this concept, Or sometimes it's a voice memo that's literally just an idea. I'm on the way somewhere and I have an idea, but it depends. But the thing that helps me is to have people around me that are willing to create with me, like to start from nothing, from no sounds, and just build it. I think that really helps me to find something that is authentic to me, you know, to end out with something that's really me. So yeah, girl, hope that helped.
Thank you.
Hi, Coco. My name is Morgan, and I just wanted to know if you ever rewatch Let It Shine. Like, you like to look at your old movies. Do you ever rewatch it?
Who? Nar, because it's a little cringe-o, because I'd be like, woo. But I will say, sometimes I listen to my old music, my old demos, and girl, I could cry on command because I wanted it so bad. I was singing my heart out. And sometimes I just listen to them to be like, keep going, girl. Keep going.
Yeah, give them a chance on that far side.
Hey, Fran.
Hey, friend.
All right, just a couple quick things. My name is Aziza. Aziza Love.
Hi, Aziza.
Hey, Coco. So, my question is about fear. So, I've been doing this thing for a while. I'm a singer, fashion designer. I made this jacket. So, listen,
Period.
if you need a piece, want a piece, I am that artist that's like, hey, this is what I do, and this is what I want to do. I'm so passionate. That's why I wore it today, because
Period,
I was
girl.
like, maybe she'll see me shine because we let it shine. So about fear, about fear, I just this past year branched into more film and wearing my own pieces. I got my first speaking role in a film that just released on Amazon Prime. And y'all, I'm terrified because thank you. I had never seen, and I still haven't even watched the movie because I'm scared. I haven't seen myself in these spaces yet, but that Delulu is like, you gonna beat her though, because I can feel it.
Word up.
So what do you have to say on allowing yourself to like break past who you've been so you can continue to become?
Okay, period. I feel like I always do this thing with myself where I'm like, okay, well, you have options. You don't have to do this uncomfortable route of, for example, breaking past who you've always been to be someone different. You can always stick with what you know. You can always give up. You can always choose the more comfortable route. I tell myself, you have options, so which one do you want? And I'm like, well, I want the end result of the other one. And I think they're both uncomfortable. To know that you possibly could have pushed past your fears and been something great, but you didn't, and living with that what if is very uncomfortable to me. And then also pushing past the fear and not knowing what's going to happen over there is very uncomfortable. So I just tell myself, which version of uncomfortability do you want? One has results and one does not. What do you want?
The gentleman right there with is it the gray sweatshirt? Right there.
Gray sweatshirt.
White. Again, it's hot right here.
Right,
Right
oh,
here.
sorry.
Hey guys, hey girls.
LOL.
I'm weak. But anyway, my name's Justin, and I'm actually a publicist for Hot 97, Sirius XM, and Dipset. And I wanted to ask both of y'all, because I believe you're an executive for hip hop and R&B at Billboard, correct? Back when I was a journalist, I used to ask all the people I interviewed this very question. And if you need help with answering it, I'll give an example. What was the greatest no that you have ever received, and why? And I could provide clarification on how to answer the question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, please.
All right, so I'm originally from Southside Richmond, Virginia, born and raised, the home of D'Angelo. Nicholas F., who's in the fourth floor level for the Hip Hop 50th Anniversary exhibit. And back in 2019, I almost moved to LA to work with Loyola Marymount for their community engagement program. After 3 interviews with the 2 co-founders of the program, I was rejected. And I was like, dang, I'm not really going to move out here. But that was the greatest no that I've ever received, because I had to do everything else I wanted to in life back home in Virginia. And I moved out here to really start a new life rather than thinking about the what ifs, because I did everything I wanted to. And I wanted to ask, what was y'all's greatest no's through artist, creative perspective, and through an administrative, executive perspective?
You want to go first? I know that is a great question.
You did good.
Thank you.
So I would say my greatest no is being dropped from my first record label. At the time, I felt like the world was actually coming to an end. But looking back on it, I probably would have been in that situation till I was an adult. And I wasn't my best version of myself. I could have kept being this alternative version that I think would have done well, but I, would have just been empty by the time I got to an adult. I would have realized I had no life, no real life experience. I just knew how to sell records. That would have been my core identity. That would have been, and also at that time, I felt like that's what made me valuable. Like if I was doing well, then I was talented, then I was good. And I had to learn through that rejection that there have to be other ways that I qualify myself as valuable, because this is just too inconsistent for me. And I think also I didn't have that situation where I had no ownership of myself anymore, because they let me go. I was good. I was taking my name and whatever else I write and whatever else I sing on, and I had that ownership. It wasn't like I had to, as an adult, get out of some crazy contract. So that was probably one of the greatest no's of my life, because I creatively got to find my voice and find who I am as an artist. And now I can, sit here and be proud of the projects that I have, because they are my truest version of myself, because I found myself,
Okay, real fast, just to answer from my end. You mentioned Loyola. That's where I graduated from. Really? Yeah. Wow. And with a BA in writing, I wanted to write for film and TV. I went all over this town to indie stations, whatever. No, we're not going to hire you. You've got a degree. You'll stay 2 seconds and go somewhere else. Or it's a union town. You got to wait till somebody dies before you can. It was all that. So I pivoted, you talked about paying rent, had to pay rent, and started doing temp work, because I could type really, really fast. That's how I made money in college, to get through college, typing other people's papers and things. And ended up interviewing for a company that doesn't exist now, but it was one of the major radio companies across the country, RKO Radio. And that's when I learned about trade publications like Billboard and Cashbox and others at the time. And I grew up loving music, because my parents both love music. So I grew up, and I always wanted to write. So I thought, reading the trade publications, I can combine two loves, writing and working with music. And here I am. Right here.
Hi, Coco.
Hi.
I'm Victoria, Victoria Rose, and I guess my question to you relates to AutoZone. You know how you were talking about how the wheels are starting to fall off? Yeah. I had a situation where I was about to go on stage to perform for something that was kind of a big opportunity for me, and minutes before I went on stage, there was a male venue owner, and he took advantage of me in a really, really shitty way. But so I think I kind of didn't do my best on that performance, and it ended up really sucking. And I think that was, for me, one of the moments that I kind of started to not have as much faith in the music industry, which is really unfortunate, because I've been doing this for a while and I love it. Music is my everything. So I guess, my question is, while you're waiting for AutoZone, what do you do, and how do you kind of when your spirit has been so drained, how do you push through, Because I know it's just resilience, but do you have any advice for how to get back to where you were before that,
Well, first of all, girl, so sorry that happened to you. That's terrible. I'm really sorry to hear that. When your spirit is low, been there. honestly, I'm thinking, what did I really do? I just didn't go home. I just didn't do the final step, but I was basically ready to give up so many times. And sometimes I think I just did other things, like I went to be with my family, or I was really into Grey's Anatomy. I would watch it for hours, like hours, and just avoid those feelings at the time. But then another thing that really helped me was therapy, I do think, because I had so many pent up thoughts about myself that came from the industry that I had no idea I was carrying. I would just be like, oh yeah, this is why I can't do this, and I don't give, that vibe, so I probably shouldn't even try. Like, I would just say it like it was common knowledge. And I had a therapist that would be like, why do you feel like you can't have that? Who said that? Why do you feel like this other girl is better than you? What made you say that? Like, I just had to ask myself these questions that I had kept just like as part of my identity, And I think that really helped me, because when my spirit was low, it was a reflection of how much I believed that I could have, And I just started to believe less and less and less and less was really realistic for me. So I started to make everything smaller, and it all just got sadder, I think that's what really helped me to like get out of that perception, is to do that work. And that didn't mean that things were immediately going to get better. They surely did not. It was actually like 3 years later after doing therapy. But I had to do the work, on myself. I couldn't just stay in that exact same mindset, exact same patterns and habits, same ways of avoiding, same distractions. Like, I had to change something in myself. And I think that that really helped when my spirit was low, to just do the work on myself, forget about the industry and what I want career-wise, and actually like work on my spirit and my soul, Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Unfortunately, we're going to have to close out here. I know there's so many more questions you guys would like to ask Coco. I could sit here and talk to her for another hour myself, but we're on a schedule here. But I want to thank you, because this has been one of the most enjoyable sessions I've moderated here at the museum.
Thank you. Thank you guys so
And
much
a
for
round of
coming out.
applause for Coco Jones.
Appreciate y'all.
Can we give another round of applause? Coco Jones, Kel Mitchell, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. This is just day one of Grammy Week, and we are already going to have a hard time topping this amazing conversation. This was amazing. So thank you both for being here, sharing your time, your wisdom, and you guys enjoyed that? Yeah? Love it. I love it.
We will bring you guys up there.
Awesome. So we're going to get ready. Awesome. Grammy Week 2024. Make some noise one more time. All right. So we are getting ready to prepare for our next program that's going to happen at 1. So we will have to clear the theater, but we'll be opening doors again at 12:30. So you can exit to my left, and then we will see you guys hopefully back at 1 p.m. Thank you so much.